So, welcome to Omni Keys with a Z, Oracle. I identify myself as an Oracle, but I'm not attached to any identity because any day, Spirit can be using you in a different perspective, and you might want to take on a new name, right? So, I'm not going to pull any cards and meditate on any cards today because um, I'm still meditating and still receiving messages from uh, the last message, uh, last Saturday that I posted, and yeah, it's very powerful for me. I really believe that um, the messages that I channel from spirit, from higher self, from Olun Mila, from wisdom, from God that has given his angels charge to lead us and guide us. So those messages come from spirit, come from angels, come from God, assigning them to us to lead us and guide us, right? So um, it does strike me odd sometimes. I want to be able to understand when someone says they don't relate to my readings or my messages, but it's been really hard to understand that, coupled with the wisdom that Orumila gave me, the wisdom that God gave me. I was given an understanding that uh, the messages that come from the divine help that God has charged over me as an oracle is always relative. Always relative. You have to, it's not going to relate to people who are finding fault. It's only going to relate to people who have ears to hear because it's prophecy. Okay. And so if I say, you have to learn how to translate too. So if I say, oh, like the last message is you being plucked out of a family situation, you have to be able to translate. You have to be able to say, okay, who do I consider family, and whose life am I being plucked out of, and things like that. So I just wanted to drop that little bit of wisdom because I don't think I'm comfortable anymore after knowing that. Saying that if it doesn't relate, to you, you should, let it go. If you want to, I support that wholeheartedly. But you're missing out. You're missing out on pearls of great price and learning how to apply it to your life by asking God, asking your spiritual team, how does this relate to me? Instead of just listening to a message, especially an oracle message, and saying, I don't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Ask your spirit helpers, how does this wisdom apply to my life? How do I apply this wisdom to my life? Okay, and so I got two messages today. Let me see if I can remember one. One, uh, the god Anubus has been coming into my awareness, and I get this feeling that my brother just passed, and I get this feeling that my brother sent this God, because I've never heard of Anubis before. Next thing you know, he started popping up in my feeds, and information about him started popping up, and it was just relative for me. I wanted to find out how I relate to this God Anubis. I want to say Egyptian God. Um, so I asked and I received. You got to ask, how does this relate? And I keep seeing my brother. Um, so I was just wondering if he sent Anubis to me to answer some questions that I have, or to increase my faith. That was one of the messages. Or to increase my faith so that I can believe what I believe, okay? Or re-believe what I have believed about him passing away and being in in a lovely place, being in heaven, so to speak, because I have a Christian background, and so I was conditioned to believe in heaven and hell, and which is fine because that's only part truth. But when you ask God for increase, you realize heaven is, the whole idea and perspective of heaven is so vast. It varies. It's many. It's a lot, and the aspect and perception of hell is so much bigger than what we learn in Christianity, than what we learn in the fishbowl of Christianity. And so my brother, um, at first I thought I was supposed to do an altar for Anubis because the information I was getting about him was how to, work with Anubis. So I asked Anubis, I'm like, is you trying to work with me? Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't ask or beg or call on spirits unless um, it's a reciprocity thing. It can't be me coming to them like begging them for help as if there's no reciprocity, as if they serve a purpose in my life and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know. I'm learning more about how we should call on spirit or answer the call. Maybe there are times you call on spirit. Maybe times you answer the call. Like if somebody call you, they be like, "Call me back," and then you call them back. Stuff like that. And I feel like that's the dynamic between me and the spirits that are making themselves known to me. Um, Allowing me to see and hear and know the spirits, the angels, the ancestors that God has given charge over my life to work with me. And sometimes it changes up, because it depends on the shift. It depends on the season in your life, what spirit is working with you at that moment. I've had spirits just jump in front of other spirits and be like, "Oh, my turn." You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, I was like, am I supposed to light a candle for Anubis? Like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to work with this uh, God, right? Spirit. And so Anubis quickly is basically the caretaker of the dead, right? And so I've learned a few things about him, but the last thing I remember is caretaker of the dead, and that's the thing that keeps repeating itself in my spirit as every time I think about him. Protector of the dead. And not really protector of the dead, it's more like caretaker. Caretaker of the dead. And so when someone passes away, their spirit ends up in the hands of Anubis, and he takes them towards the sunset, and he weighs their heart on a scale with a feather, and if the feather rises, then your heart is heavy. If the heart rises, um, then, or it's even with the feather, that means your heart is light and you're going to heaven or something like that. And so what Anubis told me about my brother, via my brother, because my brother sent him, or to speak to me. And when I say sent him to speak to me, I don't know how that went. It could have been just they made a deal to just send me a telepathic message. Anubis was, the presence of Anubis is probably not even, here. I don't know, because I feel really cold breezes sometimes, and I don't even know where they're coming from. I could have the heat like right on me, and I'll feel a cold breeze like fighting the heat. But anyway, so I'm still learning, but I said all that to share this message because I believe it's an oracle message, not just for me, but for those with ears that hear. Okay, and the message is when someone passes away with a heavy heart, um, Anubis. Now, you may not read this about Anubis when you do your research, but this is the message that was given to me. This is how he takes care of the souls. What he does is that he weighs their hearts, and if their heart is heavy, Anubis can tell if the person has a pure heart, a loving heart, and how that heart became heavy in the first place. And so Anubis knows when to um, make the heart light in order for the person to be able to pass into the light. Okay, that's not what I've heard. I've listened to a lot and read a lot about Anubis. I don't think I read anything, but I've listened to a lot about Anubis, and I haven't heard that. I just heard that he was like this judger that judges the heaviness of your heart, and if your heart is light as a feather, you can go to heaven, and he'll help you get there, I guess. Um, but if your heart is heavy, you'll end up tormented by demons or something. I don't know. That's my translation of it. I'm paraphrasing. And so I was like, ew, I don't like these stories about Anubis. And that's why anytime that I do research about gods and goddesses, angels that God has given charge over our lives, spirits that God has given charge over our lives, that's their story. I always feel like something's missing because every story within us, it adds increase to his story. Okay, so we can study his story about something or someone or some type of energy, but it's never whole for us until we add our story to his story. And so I wanted to know from my own higher self, which consists of my egungun, it consists of my egg bay, I want to say, it consists of my divine army. I want to know, wait a minute, what is missing? Because this does not resonate with me. It don't sit right with me, okay? But that's not true. It resonates, but it just don't sit right until my part truth adds increase to it. And so when I asked, I received Anubis. Anubis helped me to understand that he is the one that makes the heart light, meaning um, if a person is feeling guilty for something they should not be feeling guilty for, if they're feeling guilty out of ignorance, whatever the case may be, Anubis is wise, is a wise spirit of God, a wise angel of God, a wise God, mini God, I want to say, okay, because everything created is God, everything that exists is God. There is only God. Okay, people say, oh, there is only one God, and that makes us think separate stuff. You know what I'm saying? But there is only God just means that there is only God. Anubis is just a name that has been given in Greek mythology to God that is in this aspect that I'm speaking of right now. And Anubis makes sure that the heart that is heavy, that should not be heavy, if someone even commits a crime or suicide out of ignorance, we can't judge all that. I'm not even going to speak on that because I don't want to get in trouble with no type of energy speaking on that. But Anubis knows what's right, okay, examines the heart, and knows the truth. Okay, so we don't have to worry about our loved ones that may have passed on unsaved, may have passed on with heavy hearts, may have passed on guilty, may have passed on without knowing God as their personal Savior, because once their soul crosses over, the truth is what sets them free. Okay, and if someone's heart is completely evil, which is very unlikely, but evil does exist. And if someone's heart is evil for whatever reason, um, then that's a whole nother story. Okay, but we're not dealing with that type of energy. I'm not dealing with that type of energy, and no one in my family is dealing with that type of energy. I don't know anybody in my family that's so evil that Anubis is not going to free their hearts from whatever burden, whatever sin, whatever guilt is there in order for them to be ushered by Anubis into the sunset. Okay, and so that was one of the messages that I received. So there's the two messages in there. I don't know if you caught that. Anubis letting you know that if there's someone that passed away and you're worried about whether they're in heaven and hell, whether, because of their actions, because of their lifestyle, because of their heavy heart, for whatever reason you think that your loved one may not be happy after death. Anubis wanted me to share that message and not just keep that message to myself. That Anubis, or just say God, because if you just call God God and you don't give him the name Anubis, or you give him a different name or whatever, but God makes heavy hearts light in order for you to be ushered by his angels. He has given charge you into the sunlight, into the light. Okay? God makes your heart light to usher you into the light once you pass away. Okay, so you don't have to worry about your loved ones. And the second message, do we remember what that was? Um, I don't know. If you remember what the other message was, put it in the comment section below. Oh yeah. Um, saying that an oracle message does not resonate. Um, you have to have ears to hear in order for a message that comes from spirit to resonate, unless you totally and completely believe that somebody is a prophet lying. And the only thing I claim as prophet lying is a message that is not of God. And what is God? Love. So if someone is delivering a message out of pain and not love, or out of any energy that is not of love, um, I just, I still see how that message relates to me, because we manifest messages into our lives. We do that. We blame other people. We point the finger at other people like, oh, you told me this and that wasn't even true, right? But you're the one that manifests that person and their word and their part truth into your life. So you have to take responsibility for that, and start asking some questions. Say, self, why did I manifest that message into my life, and how do I apply this message to my life? That's how you expand your own consciousness. That's how you increase your own wisdom. That's how you grow energetically. That's how you ascend as a master on a spiritual level, and grow and start manifesting. As you ascend as a master, you start manifesting prosperity into the physical realm, into your life. As above, so it is below. As within, so it is without. Right? So yeah, if anybody can remember those two messages and kind of like condense it down to two understandings that you receive from that, please comment down below. Please like this video and share if you think that it's going to help anybody. Okay, so we'll see if and when. I won't say if, because this video will reach somebody. There's no reason. There's How do I say that? It's not for nothing that I am being led to release this video. I just don't know how many or when this message will reach you. But if it does reach you, please share it, because it is a message that will help someone. It is a message of love. It is a message from God. So, anyway, share the video, like, comment. Peace.